Ever feel like Chinese grammar is playing tricks on your brain? You're at a family dinner, you've been practicing. Your aunt asks you in Chinese, 你今天是怎么来的? 你今日係點嚟㗎? You lock in, confident. You reply, 我坐了車今天來. 我坐咗車今日嚟. Your tones are sharp. Every word is correct. But she looks at you like, what? She looks confused. Oh, nice. What? You said the right words, so why didn't it land? You replay that sentence in your head. Every word was there, so what went wrong? Well, it was your grammar. Chinese grammar doesn't really work like English. In fact, it works a little backwards. So what's the secret to making Chinese grammar feel natural? Well, we'll get into that, but it's not your fault first of all. You're using clean bricks, but you're just building the house upside down. Chinese has its own logic, its own rhythm, its own structure, and it's not like English. But once you learn how to stack your words the right way, everything starts to click. And so today, I'm gonna show you just how to do that. And if you're wondering why you should listen to me, well, I'm Sheldon and my team and I, over at the Cantonese and Mandarin Blueprint, we focus on specifically helping Cantonese speakers master Mandarin and improve their Cantonese so they can get closer with their culture. We've already helped over 600 Cantonese speakers, and today we'll be covering the 3 core grammar misunderstandings in Chinese that we see people come in with and how to fix them, with each grammar misunderstanding more severe than the last. Now, before we go deeper, let's quickly review something foundational. Number 1, basic structure. See, before we go deeper, let's quickly review something foundational. It might feel a bit backwards at first, especially if you're used to English, but this is one of the biggest differences between Chinese and English. See, in Chinese, verbs don't conjugate. No past tense, no ing, no s. The verb stays the same and you build around it to show time. You might already know this, but it's worth revisiting, because once we stack this basic rule correctly, everything else starts making more sense. See, in English, we change verbs depending on the time. For example, eat, ate, eating, will eat. But in Mandarin, the verb 吃 or 食 in Cantonese, it never changes. We show time in other ways. Let's walk through how tenses work in Chinese, past, present, future. First off, present tense. Very simple. In both Cantonese and Mandarin, the present tense uses the base form of the verb, no changes, no conjugation. Instead, the context or extra words around the verb tells you whether something is happening now or happens regularly. For example, in Mandarin, 我吃饭. In Cantonese, 我食飯, I eat rice. In Mandarin now, 我在吃飯. In Cantonese, 我食緊飯, I'm eating. That 在 makes it eating. So we see Chinese verbs don't really change form depending on the tense. It's still the same verb fundamentally. To show something is happening right now, in Mandarin we add a 在 before the verb, while Cantonese adds the particle 緊 after the verb, if you're just talking about habits or general truths. So we can think of it like that 緊 in Cantonese basically acts as your ing, right? 食緊, eat, ing, right? That 在 acts as the ing in Mandarin, but it just goes before the verb, so ing eat. Although I don't really recommend thinking of it like that, but you get the idea, right? 在 before the verb in Mandarin, 緊 after the verb in Cantonese, and that expresses the idea of an action in progress or something happening in that moment, right? Eating. Now, past tense, we add particles, not conjugations. So if you want to say something happened in the past, once again, no verb changes, right? The verb is still the same. In Chinese, we simply add a completion particle to show that the action is finished. So in Mandarin, 他吃了饭, 他吃了饭, he ate. Mandarin uses the particle 了 after the verb to show that the action is completed. The verb 吃 stays the same, all right? It doesn't become ate or eaten, okay? It's still the verb eat, but that 了 indicates that the action has already happened. So it happened in the past. In Cantonese now, it becomes 佢食咗飯, 佢食咗飯. So here, same thing. The verb 食 stays in its base form. It doesn't mean ate or eat or eaten. It just means eat. And just like in Mandarin, we add the completed action particle afterwards. So in this case, in Cantonese, it's 咗, 食咗, ate. Okay? No need to change the verb itself. Now, what about future tense? Well, we use time words or will-like words talking about the future in Chinese. We still don't conjugate the verb. Instead, we just add a helping word like 会 in Mandarin or 会 in Cantonese to show us something will happen. So for example, in Mandarin, 我会吃, I will eat. Okay, that helper word 会 shows that it's gonna come, future intention. Okay, think of it like the English word will, literally. You see, the verb 吃 never changes form. Now in Cantonese, exactly the same. Mandarin 我会吃, Cantonese 我會食, 我會食, I will eat. Okay, it's the exact same thing. Comes before the verb, so the action will happen in the future. I will eat. So now we know, okay, Chinese verbs don't change, no conjugation. That's already different from English. But this next part, this is what makes Chinese feel really backwards. It's not the words themselves, it's actually where the words go, the sentence structure. See, in Chinese, we're used to dropping time and place at the end. I ate dinner yesterday. I ate dinner at home. But in Chinese, you flip that. And if your brain is wired to build sentences the English way, this can feel completely backwards. See, here's the raw basic order of a Chinese sentence. It's actually as easy as English. Subject, verb, object. For example, I eat rice. 我吃饭. 我食 饭, the exact same. But those extra details, the way we add them in, does feel backwards. And now just remember, we're not changing the structure. The structure is the same in both Cantonese and Mandarin and English. We're just stacking in extra details in a way that feels a little bit backwards until it finally clicks. Let's break it down. Adding time. The word order is subject plus time plus verb plus object. So for example, I eat in the morning. Time goes last in English, but in Chinese, 我早上吃饭. 我早上吃飯. In Cantonese, 我朝早食飯. 我朝早食飯. 朝早 in Mandarin, 早上 means in the morning, and we see that it goes before the verb. Subject, time, verb, object, different from English, which goes subject, verb, object, time. I eat in the morning, right? In the morning goes last. I go to work every day. 我每天工作. 我每天工作. 每天 basically means every day. You see it goes after the subject I. I every day work. In Cantonese, 我每日返工. 我每日返工. 每日 means every day. And once again, that goes after the subject, before the verb. 返工. I run at night. At night, you see, is in the end in English, but in Chinese, 我晚上跑步. 我晚上跑步. So you see, in Chinese, Cantonese and Mandarin, it goes after the subject. 晚上 means nighttime. I at night run. Okay? In Cantonese now, 我夜晚跑步. 我夜晚跑步. 夜晚 means night in Cantonese, 晚上 in Mandarin. Okay? So we see it always comes after the subject, before the verb. Now we add in place. You can add a place element to say where the action happens. And the usual word order in Chinese is subject, time, place, verb, object. Okay? This sounds most natural in both Cantonese and Mandarin. For example, I was born in Canada in the year 2000. I'm not, by the way. I'm a 95 baby. I got called old the other day by people who were still in the early 20s. It hurt. It hurt. Doesn't feel like my 20s were that long ago, but it's ending soon. Anyway, so I was born in Canada in the year 2000. In Mandarin, 我2000年在加拿大出生. 我2000年在加拿大出生. So 2000 literally means 2000, which means 年 means year 2000. Right? In Cantonese now, 我2000年喺加拿大出世. 我2000年喺加拿大出世. So we see here the verb is 出生 or 出世, which means to give, to like be born, right? And so we see before it comes the place, right? 在加拿大 or 喺加拿大. And then we see before the place comes the time. 2000年. 2000年, year 2000. And then before that, the subject, I. So different from English. In English, it would be, I was born in Canada in the year 2000, right? In English, you have subject, verb, the place, and then we have time. See? A little different. Backwards. I watched a movie at home on Saturday. 我星期六在家看电影. 我星期六在家看電影. In Cantonese, 我星期六喺屋企睇戲. 我星期六喺屋企睇戲. We see once again, right? 星期六is time, and 喺屋企在家 means at home, and then the verb is last, 看電影 or 睇戲 in Cantonese. I met my friend at the cafe this morning. In Mandarin, 我今天早上在咖啡店见了朋友. 我今天早上在咖啡店见了朋友. In Cantonese now, 我今朝喺咖啡店見咗朋友. 我今朝喺咖啡店見咗朋友. We see here once again, it goes subject, time, place, verb, and then object. Different from English. I, this morning at coffee shop, saw a friend. Okay, now adding manner. Let's add how the action is done. This is called the manner. And it usually goes after place and before the verb. So the full sentence structure then becomes subject, time, place, manner, verb, and object. Let's look at some natural examples. I quietly read at the library this afternoon. 我今天下午在图书馆安静地看书. 我今天下午在图书馆安静地看書. I, today, afternoon, at library, quietly read book. Wow, that is backwards. In Cantonese now, 我今日下晝喺圖書館安靜咁睇書. 我今日下晝喺圖書館安靜咁睇書. Once again, same structure, right? 今日, today, 下晝, afternoon, 喺圖書館, at the library, 安靜咁, the manner, right? Very quietly, 睇書, read a book. I carefully wrote the report at work this morning. 我今天早上在公司 认真的写报告。我今天早上在公司認真地寫報告。In Cantonese， 我今朝喺公司認真咁寫報告。我今朝喺公司認真咁寫報告。We see once again, 我 is I, 我 in Mandarin. 今天早上 means this morning. In Cantonese, 今朝喺公司 means at work. 在公司 in Mandarin. 認真咁認真的 means like very earnestly, very seriously, right? 寫報告 means basically to write reports. 寫報告 in Cantonese. Okay, you see, very similar structure. By the way, if you're a Cantonese speaker who's trying to learn Mandarin and enjoy these kind of like Cantonese to Mandarin comparisons, there's a link down below. We have an entire course to help Cantonese speakers learn Mandarin, completely free. Check it out. Hopefully help you out. Okay, next. I happily cooked at home on Sunday. In Mandarin, 我星期天在家开心的做饭。我星期天在家開心的做飯。In Cantonese， 我星期日喺屋企開心咁煮飯。我星期日喺屋企開心咁煮飯。Same thing here, right? 我 I Mandarin 我星期日星期天 Sunday, right? 喺屋企在家 at home 開心咁開心的 happily 煮飯做飯 made food. Okay? But you see, it's quite backwards, right? I happily cooked at home on a Sunday. That's not even close to the Chinese one. I, Sunday, at home, happy, cook food. Oh, but that's how you build a fuller Chinese sentence, by stacking time, place, and manner right after the subject and just before the verb. By the way, that manner part is what we call an adverb, okay? Quietly, seriously. We actually have another video all about how Chinese adverbs work, including what words to use, how to place them naturally, and the difference between expressions like 认真的 and 认真感. So make sure to check that out if you want to master expressing kind of tone, style, and feelings in Chinese. Very good video. Okay, now let's get to part 3, structuring questions. This is actually quite a common mistake we see amongst kind of like new learners of Chinese. Okay, all right, so you've done the hard part, right? You've cracked the one thing that makes Chinese feel so backwards, the sentence structure. Time, place, manner, all stacked before the verb, right? Got it all down. You've rewired your brain to build sentences the Chinese way. Now here's the good news. That same structure works for questions too. Seriously, if you can build a sentence in Chinese, you can ask a question in Chinese, and it's so easy. Chinese questions are beautifully logical. It's a crazy hack. You keep the same word order and just swap out the missing piece with the question word. It's like you've built this perfect Lego set, and now you just replace one brick, right? No need to tear it down at all to make it into a question. Let's break it down one swap at a time. Okay. So we're still working with this structure. Subject, time, place, manner, verb, object. Keeping that structure, okay? We're not going to change it at all. Let's use the sentence as our base. I happily cooked at home on Sunday. Okay? This one from earlier. 我星期天在家開心地做飯. In Cantonese, 我星期日喺屋企開心咁煮飯. Now let's make it a question by replacing one element, one brick at a time. So first off, who? To ask who performed the action, we substitute the subject with 谁 or 邊個 in Cantonese. 谁 in Mandarin, bingo in Cantonese. So for example, who happily cooked at home on Sunday? Just like English, replace the subject I with who. So in Mandarin, 谁星期天在家開心地做飯? 谁星期天在家開心地做飯? In Cantonese, now replace that subject I with 邊個. Okay? 邊個星期日喺屋企開心咁煮飯? 邊個星期日喺屋企開心咁煮飯? In this case, who replaces the subject, which is the person performing the action. The rest of the sentence stays exactly the same. Told you it'd be easy. Now, next we have the time. To ask when something happened, we simply replace the time element with 什么时候 in Mandarin or 几时 in Cantonese. So, same sentence. When did you happily cook at home? Hey, in Chinese, you see, in English, the order kind of switched, right? Who happily cooked at home? When did you happily cook at home? The grammar is freaking hard. Like, I don't know if English speakers realize this, but our grammar is stupidly complicated. Honestly, I'll make a video about how stupidly annoying English grammar is in the future, but it's stupidly annoying. Like, Chinese grammar is so easy. Like, it's literally the exact same sentence, just switch out that time element in the Chinese structure with the new time element for question. So for example, when did you happily cook at home? You see, new structure in English. In Chinese, remember the original one was 我星期天在家开心地做饭. Okay, now this one I'm going to switch the subject 我, like I for 你, because I'm not going to say like when did I happily cook at home. It's kind of weird, right? So anyway, now in Cantonese and Mandarin it goes 你什么时候在家开心地做饭? 你什么时候在家开心地做飯? In Cantonese, 你幾時喺屋企開心咁煮飯? 你幾時喺屋企開心咁煮飯? So we see here that when replaces the time element, it just replaces on Sunday. You just put 什么时候 in Mandarin or 几时 in Cantonese. The exact same thing. The rest of the sentence, exactly the same. Now we go on to where. Oh, isn't this fun? To ask where the action took place, we replace the place element, once again, just switching out Lego blocks, with 哪里 in Mandarin or 边度 in Cantonese. So, in English, oh my god, kill me, another new structure. Where did you happily cook on Sunday? Okay, in Mandarin now. 你星期天在哪里开心的做饭? Remember, before it was 在家, now it's 在哪里. So replace the 家 for the place with 哪里. Very straightforward. And 哪里 is just the place, but it's a question place. You get what I mean? So 你星期天在哪里开心的做饭? 你星期天在哪里开心的做飯? In Cantonese, 你星期日喺邊度開心咁煮飯? 你星期日喺邊度開心咁煮飯? Okay, so we see here in Cantonese, before it was 喺屋企, which means at home. Now it's just 喺邊度. 邊度 is the where place indicator, so just the same place thing. Just replace that 喺屋企 for at home with 邊度. In Mandarin, replace that with 哪里. Same structure, all the same. I feel like Donald Trump when I do this. But in this case, where replaces the place element to ask for the location where the action occurred. The rest of the sentence, once again, remains unchanged. Oh, magic. Now we're on to the manner, right? How. To ask how something was done, replace the manner element with 怎么 in Mandarin or 點樣 in Cantonese. So for example, in English, how did you cook at home on Sunday? Now in Mandarin, 你星期天在家怎么做饭? 你星期天在家怎麼做飯? In Cantonese, 你星期日喺屋企點樣煮飯? 你星期日喺屋企點樣煮飯? So remember before it was 開心咁 or 開心的 happily. Now it's just 點樣 or 怎麼 in Mandarin. Very straightforward, right? So here we see that how replaces the manner element 開心的 or 開心咁 to ask about the way or style of the action. The rest of the sentence pretty much the same. Though I know here this kind of question technically follows the same logic, but in real life it's not super common to ask, how someone cooked unless you're being really specific, like asking about a technique or kind of tone, right? Native speakers might phrase this differently depending on the context, but for now, the key takeaway is you're just swapping out the manner part, same word order, same structure, just a different brick. Okay, native speakers might ask this differently because obviously referring to oh, did you cook happily, right? Now we have missing the object or the what, right? To ask what was done, we replace the object element with 什么 or 乜嘢 in Cantonese. For example, what did you happily cook at home on Sunday? 你星期天在家开心的做了什么饭? 你星期天在家開心的做了什麼飯? In Cantonese now, 你星期日喺屋企開心咁煮乜嘢? 你星期日喺屋企開心咁煮乜嘢? In this case, what replaces the object to ask for the specific item that was cooked. The sentence keeps the same structure, but we substitute the object. So Chinese isn't backward, it just plays by different rules. Now you know those rules. Time, place, manner, stack like Lego before the action. And questions, easy, right? You don't flip anything. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. Hope it was helpful. Hope you learned something. And that's it. That should help you understand Chinese better and understand Chinese structure better. So now click here if you're a Cantonese speaker who wants to learn Mandarin, and click here for a video that YouTube thinks you'll love. Until next time, 再见.